Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Digital Arts Show. I'm Jim Sirianni, your host. This show is part of the Digital Arts Festival that is produced by Center Stage Theater of Santa Barbara, California. The Digital Arts Festival interviews stream nightly at 7 p.m., and you can find out more on the Center Stage website, centerstagetheater.org, and click on the blog tab. And the purpose of the Digital Arts Festival is to create an outlet for artists of all kinds to share their work. And because of the quarantine, many artists and performers suddenly found themselves with no way to perform or to show their work, to share what they've been creating. In some cases, the work that some artists and performers have created may never be seen by the public. So, in an effort to find some sort of workaround, if you will, the Digital Arts Festival was created to help artists and performers connect with their audiences in a virtual setting instead of in person. So we'll have dance, theater, music, film, visual arts, poetry, storytelling, and much more on the shows. And again, you can learn all about it on the Center Stage website, centerstagetheater.org, and click on the blog tab. Today's guest is Betsy Woyach. Am I saying that right, Betsy?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes.
Okay. Betsy Woyach, she is with Momentum Dance Company of Santa Barbara. Momentum Dance Company provides quality dance training in a positive, passionate, and nurturing environment. Through competitive performances and unique experiences, their dancers learn essential life skills such as self-esteem, teamwork, responsibility, respect, and accountability. They strive to make the Momentum experience a memorable one that will help mold students by preparing them to be successful in their personal endeavors. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome today's guest. Welcome to the show, Betsy. It's great to have you with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Jim. This is really amazing what you guys are doing. And I got all like misty eyed while you were talking about it because this has really impacted so many artists. And when you said the line that some artists' work will not even be seen that we've been working on this year, it just got me super emotional because that really, really hit home for us.
Yeah, I know and it hits home for a lot of people. And I think about students that you work with teens, you work with I know you work with little ones as well.
Yeah.
And I also think about students who, at the high schools and junior high who who play sports or who also do other extracurricular activities, and they won't be able to do those anymore, especially if they're
Right.
seniors and they're graduating. So it is kind of, it's an unprecedented time in history for us, to be
Exactly.
going through all of this. But we're hoping, and I'm glad that Center Stage gave us this opportunity to do this, and
Yeah.
at least for performers and artists to be able to connect and to somehow reach out to the audience in a way that they normally wouldn't. But Betsy, let me ask you then, tell us a little bit about your background and how you ended up in Santa Barbara founding Momentum Dance.
It is a very long, winding road. I am from Atlanta, if you want to say I'm from somewhere. I moved around forever as a child from Wisconsin, New Jersey, Canada, Atlanta, but kind of like found home base in Atlanta. And when I graduated from college, I moved out to Los Angeles to start work as a professional dancer. At the same time that I moved to LA, coincidentally, my sister, who was just finishing her master's in Atlanta, she moved out. She found Santa Barbara, and she moved out here. And my mom said, well, you guys are not going to go all the way to California, leave me out here. So it was a really nice transition where my mom and sister moved out to Santa Barbara at the same time that I was moving to Los Angeles. So Santa Barbara became kind of our home away from home. And I lived and worked in LA for 10 years. And about 5 years into that journey, when I was coming out all the time to Santa Barbara anyway, I started teaching out in Santa Barbara and getting involved in the dance community here. And then in 2013, I got pregnant with my son and said, okay, peace out, LA. I'm moving to Santa Barbara. That's it. I'm not doing this LA thing anymore. I want to raise my child in Santa Barbara. And in 2014, I started Momentum Dance Company. there wasn't at the time in 2014 a competitive component to dance in Santa Barbara. It was all performance based. And for 5 years, I witnessed, incredible, incredible dance talent in Santa Barbara. And students had come to me over and over and over going, we want to compete though. And that was my life in Atlanta, Canada, New Jersey. I competed my entire life. I was national and international competitive dancer. And so I was blown away that there was no competitive dance in Santa Barbara. And that was at the time where like Dance Moms was like really taking off. And there was this like
Right.
competition dance was blowing up, in the media. And although Dance Moms is not at all a good example of what competition dance is,
Right.
it got a lot of kids very curious in competitive dance that had not done competitive dance before. So I sort of started the company backwards and started just with the competitive element. We weren't a dance studio when we first started in 2014. We just had a competitive company of 20 dancers, and we had our minis, our juniors, and teen company, and pro company. We had 4 companies. We had 21 dancers, and we started from that. And we set pieces and competed all over Southern California. And now 6 years later, we're a fully operating recreational program that offers 40 hours a week of dance for all ages and levels, as well as having the competitive company we have 32 on it this year. So it's been a really, really awesome journey, but I really did it backwards. Instead of doing the studio first and then a company, but somehow it was my journey and it worked out beautifully. And this season would be our 6th season, really was our largest company, just like, okay, this is going to be our season. So it's been really devastating to see the turn of it, because it was really going to be like our pinnacle. And I feel like this has helped us in some ways. It has been very, very, very hard for the company members. We usually do 5 competitions a year. And we got to do 1 competition in February, and all the rest of the competitions so far have been postponed to a later date. And at this point, we still don't even know if those postponed dates will happen. So I'm looking at a company of 32 kids that have been busting their little booties since August, learning and perfecting these dances to take to competition. And some of the companies didn't even get to perform in February. And it is great. And those competitions are being postponed. So to see all their hard work and them to not get the experience to go to the competitions, perform their dances, and again, just having these incredible, incredible dances that they were so proud of, that they worked so hard for, to just be like, all of a sudden, like there's a halt and there's so much unknown, has really been impactful for the company.
Oh man, I know. See, that's so devastating to think about, what these kids go through, and having to go through that. I mean, go through all the the practices, and trying to perfect their techniques. And so I wanted to ask then, how are the students doing now that we're into this a month or so? It must be hard for them not being able to all be together. How are they dealing with it?
It's actually amazing to see how our students have handled it. We pivoted pretty quick. I'm very fortunate to be part of a dance community that, internationally, nationally, that really came together and went, okay, we are not shutting down our doors. We are not closing because of this. We can do this. And I have really amazing mentors that kind of helped guide us through. Here's what we're going to do, and we're going to open up our digital dance studio, and you can do this. And we closed our studio doors on Friday, March 13th, and on Tuesday, that following Tuesday, can't do the math that quick.
That's okay.
Like the 16th, I want to say, we started, we didn't do our full classes, but we started offering just a daily class at 4 o'clock. That was either a jazz class or a hip hop class or a ballet class for everybody at the studio, so they could just do something, like, because it happened very quickly. I was hemming and hawing about closing the studio on Friday, and by Monday it was very apparent like that everything is shutting down and like we are home and that is it. And so Tuesday we started doing these classes, and the response was amazing. Like, we didn't know if anybody was going to tune into them, if they were going to do them. And then that hour every day for the first 2 weeks, we did it the first week that we were closed down. And then the second week was our spring break, because that's when Santa Barbara Unified School District went on spring break. So we still offered those classes through spring break and went, okay, I know we're on spring break, but these kids need something. And I think, faculty on down to the kids, that hour was like our cherished hour, and it changed us like for the whole day. Like, we all looked forward to that 4 o'clock hour. And then when we were all on and like we could see each other, it really felt like, oh my gosh, we're together again, and hi, and it was very exciting. And then we got to dance, and that always makes us feel better and is uplifting. And so in the time of just craziness of how are we going to do this, what are we going to do, how can we make this work, the first 2 weeks were vital, and they were absolutely incredible. And then since then, when we came back from spring break, we just offered pretty much every single one of our recreational classes that we were offering before virtually. And then we had like for the competitive company, they do a lot of extra rehearsals. So we kind of condensed that and did a modified schedule for them. And the response was really amazing. Like, yes, that's perfect. Let's do it. Let's go. Attendance has been phenomenal. And it really is just very uplifting. And I'm teaching classes from my kitchen with my son and my dog, like on top of us. But if I'm having a rough day, or the kids are having a rough day and they all come on, it literally is a game changer for the rest of your day. Like, you felt like you were with your people. We get to dance. We're still working on our recital dances. Like, at this point, we're still supposed to have our recital at Center Stage June 20th and 21st. So we will continue to see how that looks and if we can do it in any sort of capacity. But like, these kids are, resilient, and they're working on their recital dances, and we're staging things and moving on. Like, we're not going to let anything stop us. So
Nice.
It's been really, really, really awesome for them to see how the kids have responded, and to see them showing up every day and like working super hard. We got to the point that this week we started doing outstanding students of the week, because these kids, I've got the teachers like texting me going, oh my gosh, I cried today in class because of how hard they're working. Like, it feels like they're working harder at home sometimes than they were in class, like they just have a different push and a different drive right now, because they never thought when they left the studio the last time that was going to be the last time they were going to walk out of the studio. So we're seeing these kids really, really push and work hard, and it's really inspiring, in all honesty.
That's great. That's wonderful to see that the kids are resilient. And in fact, one of the hashtags we're using for the Digital Arts Festival is hashtag Resilient Santa Barbara, because
I love that. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, that's one of their
like, we're coming, I'm just seeing our small little town, whether it's the dance studios or the everybody in the art community in Santa Barbara, or supporting the small businesses. Like, I'm so proud of us. Like, 805 strong, resilient Santa Barbara. Like, let's go. It's been really amazing to see.
Exactly. Yeah, it has. It's amazing to see how everyone, of course, I think all of us were kind of bummed that so much got shut down. I mean, there are plays that aren't even going to be seen. They just had to totally cancel rehearsals and everything. And but then to see everybody kind of pick up the pieces and kind of put it back together, if you will, through digital means, through doing interviews like this, and doing other, people putting videos up online, and singing or dancing or doing poetry readings. It's been amazing to see how everyone's kind of picked up the ball and
Yeah.
run with it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you then about momentum itself. Of course, as we've been talking about so far, there are a lot of different dance studios in Santa Barbara with different specialties. What makes momentum unique compared to other dance companies?
I think that one of the big distinguishing factors, and it became our hashtag about 2 years ago, was MDC family. We're small. We have about a total of 80 students, so we're a smaller studio than a lot of the studios. Our classes are capped at about 15 students, and I don't think that even every single class goes up to that. So we have a very unique, intimate class. So we have about 10 teachers, 10 staff members total between the teachers and the subs that we have. And everybody knows everybody. And it really truly is a family, and everybody looks out for everybody. We do have our company and we do have our recreational, but there is nothing that divides the two. Company and recreational, they're still all MDC dance members. We focus very much on the family aspect of it, that you're not coming to take class and we don't know your name or who you are. You're just another number to us and you just show up to take a class. I know every single student at my school. I know what their parents' name is. I know what school they go to. They're my babies. The studio is one baby and my child is my other baby. I've
Right.
got the two of them. And my Instagram name is Mama Bets. And I really am between the faculty and the students. They're all my babies. And when I talk about the studio, I talk about my babies. People go, wait, how many kids do you have? And I'm like, well,
80.
But there really is that warm element of when you walk in, you are family and you are a name and you have a purpose with us, and everybody supports everybody in a really incredible way, from the teachers on down to the students to the parents. That I think has been my mission with the studio, is making sure that everybody that walks through our doors feels important. They feel like they're needed and they feel like they have a place that they're going to grow and they're not going to be overlooked. And there's only a couple in the dance studio world. You sometimes get favorites and you get the stars, especially at competitive studios, that who's the dancer that wins the most at competition. We're not like that. Everybody is everybody. We have our different companies and we have our different levels, but it doesn't matter if you're a senior competitive dancer or you're a recreational dancer that takes one class a week. Like, you're all treated the same and everybody knows everybody, and it really is a family. It's not just a studio, it's a family. We do days at the beach, we do sleepovers, we do all kinds of family things together so that everybody does really feel that bond. And I think that my biggest goal was that kids never felt a distinction between, the competitive company being superior to recreational kids, and everybody felt the same, because that can happen at competitive studios too, where if you're a company member and you're taking 12 hours a week, that, well, I'm only a recreational child taking once, it doesn't matter. Everybody is important to us, and everybody's a part of the family. So I love that element about us, and I think it even is superior to what I grew up in my studio. I grew up at a studio that had 500 kids, and I loved it. I loved every single minute of it, but it's nice when you only have 80 kids and you can really give attention to every single student and their families, and what everybody, is makes up that family is important. So I feel like that's really, really, really strong. And I get that from the parents too. Like, we really feel like we're a part of a family with you, because it is.
Oh, that's
It's
great.
my son and all my girls, and he always wants to go to the studio and see the girls, and all the girls know him, and it's a family there. So, and I think that's what's hurt everybody the most right now, is like, we can't be together and we can't be with our support systems and we can't be in our home all together. Like, I swear when this is lifted, we're going to have another sleepover. We have an annual sleepover in October. And I'm like, when we can all get together again, like we're locking ourselves into the studio all
Oh my
together,
gosh.
hooking each other up again. So,
Oh,
um,
that'll be great when that day arrives and you're able to all get together again. That'll be
yeah,
so
and give the
fun.
parents all a night off. Like,
Yes.
you guys all go have a night away from your kids, and I need to see them again. So,
That'll be
yeah,
great when you guys can all get together again. I love that idea that it's a family type of environment. By the way,
yeah,
before I forget, I want to give out your website for
yes,
those of you watching. If you want to learn more about Momentum, their website is momentumdancesb.com.
yes.
Again, that's momentumdancesb.com, and you can find out all about their classes and the competitions and everything that Momentum is doing. So speaking of the competitions, if under normal circumstances, when we're not in quarantine, can you tell us a little bit about the process of how the competitions come together, and then how do you choreograph the dances for the competitions? How does that normally work?
So we've been, like I said, we've been going for about 6 years now. And so we've really, every year I tend to do different competitions and really see what works for our kids, what's a good fit for us, what feels comfortable, what doesn't feel overwhelming, but still feels challenging. I choose competitions so that the kids get a mix. We don't just go for the very hardest, most aggressive competitions, but we don't go just for the ones that we know that we can win, and it's going to be low enrollment, and we might be the best ones there and we'll just win everything. We kind of do this all season long, going super hard one that's going to get really good feedback but we might not do that good at, and then we do some of the easier ones, morale boosters, just super fun, not even worried about the judges critiques. It's more to perform and have a great time. So we do, for the competition season, we do about 5. We do 4 that are the regional competitions, and then we go to Vegas for the national competition. When we go to Vegas for the national competition, it's usually from everybody that's on the West Coast. That's like divided over, because there's always another national either in New York or Florida or somewhere East Coast. So we always do the West Coast nationals. The season starts for us. We always have our shout out to Center Stage. We always do our company concert in December, once the dances are done, to get the kids ready for competition and get like a little dress rehearsal before they have their actual first competition. And now the last 3 years, our season runs from February until July. So we have a competition pretty much every month: February, March, April, May. We do our recital in June, and then we have our nationals in July. We do our auditions in August, and then we start almost immediately Labor Day weekend, the following weekend after auditions, to start choreographing the dances. So they start learning them, whether it's in choreography camp that they go into for 3 to 4 to 5 days to learn their dances. And then we also have weekly a class that's their choreography class that they learn the dance in. So if they learned it in a choreography camp, then they'll go into the choreography class and clean it for the rest of the season. If they don't have a choreography camp, then they'll just learn their choreography in that weekly rehearsal every week. And so they're usually always done and ready to go by December for the company concert. It's like push, and we get them done, and they're costumed and looking great, and they get that first competition, like, okay, we're doing the dance in full costume, in full makeup, like, here we go, dress rehearsal out of their system. So they get to do the tech, and then usually 2 shows at Center Stage. And then by the time they perform it for the first time at competition, they're like, this is cake, we've done it. So that was what happened to us for Showstopper, and they got to do it the first time. And we had a really amazing, I guess, like, performance. Like, all the dances did phenomenally at Showstopper. So it started the season really, really good this year. And it was like, okay, here we go. Like, we're going to kill it this season. And then this has happened. Thankfully, so far, our competitions for March, April, and May have not canceled. They've just rescheduled at this point for June, July, and then all the way into September. So we're crossing our fingers and hoping that we'll basically just get to use this season's dances next season. and it'll save people money, it'll save people time and energy. We're not going to lose these dances, and we can sprinkle in maybe a few more dances next year, but not do the whole shebang, like scrap these dances and start from scratch, because these girls were and boys, I've got a boy, Tristan, who are so excited about these dances for this season. So they're not going to want to just say bye to these dances and call it a day. They're going to want to use these dances. So we'll see. Hopefully they do get to compete then in June and July, but everything, we take day by day and see what we're able to do.
Right, right. So take us through the process, if you will, of how do you create a dance? How do you choreograph it? From the beginning of maybe coming up with the idea through the whole execution of it. Take us through that process for you.
So for me, when I have the dances that I have to choreograph, I really look at who's in the dance. Who do I have in that dance? And that talks to me in itself. What's the age group? What are these dancers best at? What are their personalities like? I don't just say to myself, okay, this is what I want to do this season. Like, I really want to do this dance. Hold on, Carter. So I go through and say, okay, so like Junior Company, the dance that I want to share with you guys, is one of my favorite dances that I've done. And I went, okay, I've got this person that's good at this thing. I've got this person that excels at this thing. And I've got these different areas. Then I say, okay, this is their personality. What's going to fit with them? Okay, they're super high energy, or they're mellow, or they're super cute, or, what's going to go with their personality. Then I start with the music and I mix all my music. Yeah. So I pick the different songs. I'm a busybody and I get very bored with the same song quickly. So I think in my repertoire of choreography, I maybe have 5 dances that I've ever just done one song in the dance, like just stuck with a song for the entire dance. I have to mix. So I come up with the theme. So, this one year I did Beauty Shop, like that was the one last year, and it was all songs about like hair and getting your nails done and cute stuff for those little girls. A lot of our stuff, my stuff specifically, is very light and happy and bubbly. I'm a jazz, hip hop, tap choreographer. I don't get too deep with the girls and try and always give something that has a deeper meaning. I'm usually just allowing them to use it as an outlet and just have fun with it and be fun on stage and enjoy their dancing and not always have to get into the nitty gritty story behind it, or and a lot of dancers and a lot of choreographers do, and that's why I have a staff because they give them, our contemporary choreographers, Pablo and Carly, they give them that moment. I usually give them the like, just let your hair down and let's have fun, and just release everything moment. So I start with my mix. And then from the mix, I used to choreograph, it's funny, I've kind of progressed. I used to choreograph every single dance on paper. So I would sit and listen to my music, and I would create my formations, and I would create all the choreography and write all the choreography down, and then go into the studio and put it on my kids. I don't do that anymore. I know my transitions sometimes, and I know formational elements, but I now go in and really just allow the students to kind of like pull it out of me, which I never used to do. I used to be like, this is what we're doing. And it was like no cards. And I would adjust and tweak for the students when like something didn't work. But now, I don't know if it's, I don't know, I've just progressed that like now I go in and I'm like, okay, here's our music. And then, okay, and I just let them kind of lead me in what they're doing. And then I'll see them also freestyle while the music's on. And I'm like, oh, I love that. Let's do that. You want to do that right there? Okay, we'll do that. And so I kind of let them help guide the movement a lot now so that they're doing what they want to do. And then I tweak it so that it looks right.
Oh, right, right.
Little kids freestyling.
Cool. Well, it sounds like it's very organic now for you. It's kind of organic.
It's less rigid and it's less like, here's what we're going to do. And I pretty much only write down formations. But yeah, I listen to the music a lot. I cut the music and then I just listen to it over and over and over and over and get the feel that I want. and then we go into the studio. So
Nice.
that's my
Wow,
method.
that's amazing. That's an amazing process. That's really cool. And I wish we could talk more. I would love to, pick your brain more about how your process is for dance, but unfortunately, we're just about out of time. But
Okay.
before we go, I just want to give everyone your information one more time. By the way, I'm talking with Betsy Woyach, and she is with Momentum Dance Company, and her website for the company is momentumdancesb.com. That's momentumdancesb.com. And you can find out all about their classes and competitions and everything that the dance company is doing there. And if you'd like to learn more about Center Stage, you can go to their website, centerstagetheater.org. Again, that's centerstagetheater.org. And to check out the Digital Arts Project, or festival rather, you can just click on the blog tab on the homepage there of centerstagetheater.org. And Betsy, I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day for joining
Thank
us.
you,
And
Jim.
it's been a pleasure and
It's been
continued
wonderful
success.
talking.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a great conversation. And again, to learn more about Momentum, you can go to their website, momentumdancesb.com, momentumdancesb.com. And you can find me on social media and all over the place at Jim on the Air on Facebook and Instagram, Jim on the Air. And my podcast is available also on Spotify and Anchor.fm, Jim on the Air as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye now.